So let me say something about Janet. She is from Canada. She handled almost 4 to 5 projects, and she has good exposure on SAP FICO side. Okay, so basically she handled domestic and international projects. She is from Canada. So I just bring her here because to give you more knowledge on what she has done in the companies, and also she will share her experiences over here. So how are you? How are you, Janet? How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you all?
Yeah, we are doing good. Okay, so just to tell about yourself and so what is the experience you have in SAP FICO S4 HANA and what kind of projects you handle? Just give us some brief introduction regarding yourself so that everyone should understand about you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. A few years back, I was very frustrated. I mean, first I would like to say my name is Zilnat, you all know, and I worked like a couple of projects, and some of the company will know like two big four companies I worked for. One was PwC, another one was EY, and some other projects. And in at some point of my life, I was very frustrated, and I thought I will not get any SAP project. And then um, our teacher Chanu SK, he not only gave me
Uh,
confidence. I remember those days. Prepared me to face the interview, and the
Janet, I think your
confidence.
voice is not audible. Sometimes it's completely not audible. Yeah, please go on.
And the interview, I don't know, I mean, how far you heard me. So the interview material he shared with us today in the class, he also shared with me earlier. I've got
Mhm.
encourage you to go half of it, like go through everything, and I think it's more than enough to crack an interview. And I mean, when at the beginning, I understand when you didn't do any project, you are very brand new, it likes blurry and it's difficult to find a way ahead. But I will say that you are in the right hand. You are taking the courses from the right teacher, which is very important. And I'm very sure that all of you will get job in SAP if you, I mean, allocate little bit of time, if you practice little bit at home, like 1 hour a day. I think more than enough to land in SAP job. And the first one is the harder one. Then once you do one project, and then it will be very easy, and you will get more confident. And then, I mean, the beginning is the harder, and to think that you will be working in SAP is difficult, but eventually you will be there, and it's not that hard. It's not a rocket science. And then what you need, you already have. You have good material, you have good teacher, and I mean, like everything you have in your hand. Just is the matter of time that you will land in SAP project.
Okay, so far, how many projects that you have handled and what kind of projects you dealt with that?
Um, I'll say around six, and out of six, I had worked on end-to-end implementation for fixed asset and
Okay.
also for AR and AP.
Mhm, mhm.
But the other
So,
projects were not really end-to-end. Some of them were hypercare, and some of them were like support project.
okay, so have you worked on S4 HANA projects? It's completely ECC.
I haven't worked in any ECC project.
Okay.
I have worked S4 HANA implementation and S4 HANA project. However, if I don't, I have knowledge in ECC, and I will say that if we don't have ECC knowledge, it's impossible to work in S4 HANA.
Okay.
We have to be very good in ECC. Yeah.
Mhm. See, most of the people are here completely newbie to SAP. So, so as a SAP real-time consultant, so how you can explain some important areas for how to prepare for the interview level and what are the things that we can find out in the job. So at least if you can give 5 to 10 minutes, that should be very fantastic to us. Yes, please go ahead.
I will say I'm not an expert. I'm still learning and I joined the class to learn. But from my experience, I will say that the interview material you share with the class, this is more than enough. And I will say go through the material, practice yourself in the mirror, all the answers, because when someone will judge you, it's always difficult to control on your nerve. It's a very nervous situation, but to
Okay.
overcome this nervousness you have to practice in front of mirror. You have to give interview to your friend or arrange somebody who can take interview. I can help you if you want me to take your interview. Just practice, 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 and when you face the real interview you'll be very confident, and you have to give impression that you know.
Okay.
Because if you don't prove yourself in the interview that you are a fresher, they will not give you a project. As all of you know that all the SAP project job is really really high, so they will not give a high paid project to you if you don't show your confidence that you can do it. So
Okay.
just you need to practice.
Okay, fine, great suggestion. See, this is very personal question. I don't like to ask because okay, it's completely personal. So earlier, last salary, just to mention, what was the last salary in Canada?
145,000 Canadian dollar per year.
Okay.
um I don't know how much it will be in rupees.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fine. See, you said you are participated in, end-to-end asset accounting configurations. Have you find any difficulty while doing these configurations? Will you find all the
Yes,
details and what kind of meetings that you need to set up?
yes, I find it very difficult, very overwhelming, and I had like sleepless night. I worked 14 to 16 hours because I was really new to in the implementation project, and I feel like asset accounting is the most toughest area in FICO, in my opinion. The way I overcome it, I studied after work and I prepared myself. I have gone through SAP Press book, online blog, LinkedIn posting, YouTube video, Google search. So whatever I'm gonna work on next day, the day before, I knew that I'm going to work on that. So on that area, I research and I prepare myself. And after doing all this research I mentioned here, it was not enough. Just it helped me to understand the concept. When I attended a meeting with manager, senior manager and the client, it helped me, I would say, 25% after doing all this research. And when I started working, I configuring at the back end by myself. Then just for an example, to create an asset, maybe I had to create like 80 asset. Then first one was difficult. Once you do the same thing again and again, it will be in your brain. You will not forget it. It will be easy, like you will be able to do it in a second. So that comes with a practice. But to reach to that level, you have to work really, really hard, especially for your first project. You have to always be prepared, and because you are fresher, client who is joining with you, your manager who is joining with you, they expect that you will be able to do the job. So that's why you have to study. You have to reach out to, you can reach out to someone who is experienced in that field. You can do Google search, and like all the resources I have gone through, I already shared with you.
Okay, right, fine. So actually, you hold some PR visa in Canada, right? So how is it helpful
No,
once we,
I'm a
you're
Canadian
Canadian
citizen.
citizen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, right, great. So you are Canadian citizen. So let's say if I am Canadian citizen, so how I grab the opportunities in SAP FICO specifically, and shall I find any jobs over there?
From India or as
No,
a
no.
Canadian?
If I'm holding any Canadian permanent ship or so any visa, so how the opportunities will be there right now?
SAP job will be available. In my experience, SAP is the third largest ERP software,
Mhm.
is used by, is being used worldwide. So there
Okay.
will be job, And in compared to in other module, FICO module is in high demand, and it will be in high demand because
Okay.
there will be no organization without finance.
Mm-hmm.
So job should not be a problem. I have learned MM and WM before, but in compared to FICO, to get a job in FICO is much more easier than MM WM model, in my opinion.
Okay. Okay, so here almost we have 7 people attended today. So total strength is 19. So almost rest of the people not attended because for Saturday. So guys, if you have any questions or anything, if you want used to ask, so Janit is here. So she is ready to answer your queries, something that you want. So please ask him. Please ask her. This is a great opportunity to you also. Anyone?
Yeah, hi Janet, Tanay here.
Hi, Tanaya.
Actually, currently I'm working as an end user in my company. So as Chanu says, I'm getting training from him to upgrade myself and to become a successful SAP FICO consultant.
Mm-hmm.
So after cracking interview,
Mm-hmm.
is means how it is means when how I can manage in real time works once you get configuration and knowledge in the training stage. So
Mm-hmm.
after cracking interview, whenever project will be allotted, so
Mm-hmm.
how I can manage that and the client expectations and as well as manager.
If I understand your question correctly, that after cracking interview, how will you work in the project? So after cracking interview, I will say that, I mean, initially you need guidance from somebody who knows, but you have to work really hard. But before, after interview to do the job properly, you have to practice a lot. You have to remember all the essential T code, for example, AS01. What is this for? BP, what does it mean? So some like 40-50 T code, you have to be on, it has to be on top of your head all the time. When I was new, I used to think that if I am able to, in the dummy system, if I am able to create an asset, if am able to create a customer, that's more than enough. That was my understanding before I worked in a real-time project. And I practiced like, for example, maybe I create an asset 10 times. I create a customer 10 times. I create a vendor 10 times like this. And I thought I'm doing really good and it's more than enough. And that's all ERP about. But this is not enough. I'm telling you, whatever you are learning in the class, that will help you. SAP ERP software is much more than that. And you have to know a much more as a consultant that what you are learning in the class. So the reason I'm mentioning here is what you are learning in the class, you have to put your effort 100% because this is not the whole scenario. The whole scenario is much more complicated. If you are very good at what you are learning in the class, very, very good, then it will help you to tackle the difficult situation you are going to face as a consultant. But if you are now relaxing and you are thinking like me that you are practicing enough, then that will be a big mistake and that will be a big burden. I mean, it will pile up your burden. What happened to me is like I felt like I'm practicing 10 times and I know some T code. I know everything about FICO because I didn't have real time exposure. When I went to work, I didn't practice enough. I forgot some T code. I forgot like when I enter a entry in the system, what number will be debit, what number will be credit, like silly thing. When I see an error, when I was a student, I skipped those error. I felt like, oh, I don't need to do error because I can Google search and I can find it. But in real time scenario, when I went, there is no time for Google search. Some basic things you need to keep on your head, like on top of your head, because there are much more difficult situation. You are dealing with client, you are dealing with manager, you are dealing with other team member, you are dealing with middleware. So the basic thing you need to be very good at. So I will say, like, put your 100% and prepare yourself. If you close your eyes, you will be able to enter an entry. You will be able to see, when you close your eyes, you will be able to see where did you enter the date, where, how does it looks when you enter a debit entry, and what are the errors, some common errors. I think Chanu sir also already shared with you some common errors we find when we enter entry, or how to solve those errors. So this kind of error, when you receive, Google search it or ask your sir, like, how to solve this error, and you have to be very good at it. The reason is we are learning only 25% in the class, and another big surprise is for us waiting for you, waiting for us in the project, and we will not have time. Especially if you go to a implementation project, we will have no time to study. So at the, for the basic thing what we are learning in the class, we need to be very good, otherwise your life will be hell, like me. Someday I also worked like 18 hours to prepare myself, because I was very confident that I know everything when I learned in the class.
Great. Thank you so much. Anyone wants to ask anything right now? Any other questions?
So if you have any question, if you have any kind of suggestion, if you need any kind of help, for example, interview preparation, if you have any question, you can ping me in Skype. I'm not available 24/7. However, I will try to get back to you.
Okay,
As soon as possible.
actually one great thing is she is from Canada. She hold Canadian citizenship. Okay, so definitely it will useful. This session is very useful, guys. So you can ask any Canadian related opportunities or anything visa related question, and then you can put forward to her.
Hi, good evening, ma'am. Hello, are you audible?
Yes, you are.
If I have any doubt or any queries, real time issues, can I contact you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you can message me, then we can set up a time and we can talk about it. Yeah, for sure. But we have time difference, and I'm not always available in Skype, but I will try my best to reply all of you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No problem. No problem. You are very welcome.
This is a wonderful platform actually. So we are giving real time, we are sharing real time knowledge to everyone, and also we have interaction group. Okay, almost one sessions are ended up. Then I will try to bring you guys into interaction group. Almost all of the people will be there, 100 people almost. So everyone demonstrate so your skill set and everything. So this should be very in coming soon. There are several kind of sessions will be going on in the interaction group. That should be very helpful. Okay. Okay. She has left due to some other network issue. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, Janit, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I was disconnected by somebody.
Yes, sir. Okay. Okay. So any challenges that you have faced during the current projects?
Yes, that was my mistake only, the lack of knowledge, and I was not prepared enough. And before I landed into a project, I felt like I mean, I'm good enough. But when I landed into the project, I experienced that only uh, putting entry in the system and only knowing some T code and doing some basic configuration is more than enough for this ERP software, but it is not. In real-time scenario, we have to deal with middleware. We have to know how to gather the requirement, what client wants. We have to talk to the client and ask question what system they need, and based on that we have to
See, your voice is not audible. Yes, please go ahead. Hello.
Hi, yeah.
Yes, please go ahead. Your voice is not audible.
Okay. So I will pick a very easy example. I'm not sure if you worked on like setting up mandatory field. In the configuration, we can set up mandatory field. So optional. So at the back end, what we see as an end user, what end user will see, or the screen, I mean, an user will see, we configure at the back end. We can hide some field what is not necessary for the business. We can make mandatory some field what is required for the business. So we have to understand the software very well. We have to understand the operating procedure very well. So if we understand well, we will understand what our client need. We will be able to ask them question confidently to gather the requirement. That is a consultant job, to understand business language, what they want, and to understand and to communicate with the developer,
Network.
what like to pass the message.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you know me and our institution? So is it worthwhile to joining into our institution?
Yeah, of course. Like I said at the beginning of the conversation, I was, I mean, crying. I used to cry like every single word, like how will I get a job? I cannot get a job. How will I learn SAP and all that? That was my situation before I met you. I found you like from Google search and through a common friend who recommended me to join your class. So when I join your class, my situation is like I will never find a job in SAP. I'm not good enough, and no one will hire me. And I was like I was keep crying every time, like what will happen to me? Where, I mean, how can I get a good job? I was learning WM, and then I took some FICO, I mean, classes also from other teachers, and nothing was working out for me. And then when I met you, you are the first person. You said you will get a job in 2 months, and that is my responsibility. How will you get a job? And I got the job in 1 month after I started taking class from you. And you
Thank you,
didn't
sir.
not you not only taught me how to do configuration, and you also motivated me, and you said like I can see all the potential in you to get a job in SAP, and you are the first person who told me that, and I just blindly follow what you said, what you taught me. And I think that was more than enough for me to land into SAP project.
Great. Thank you so much. I think, see guys, actually, so before starting this institution, okay, so I was trying to explain everything only to foreign students. Okay, in that Janit is there. I think 2 years back, so I have taken training. I had taken training to Janit and some other three people, some other people from USA. So almost 5 to 6 people were there that time. So almost all of the people got selected. Then I got confident. Okay, then I started these batches in Telugu, and after that, after long back, 1 year back, I started in English. Okay, thank you very much, Janit, for your support and sharing the information to us. Okay, so thank you so much. We need your support also. Here, most of the people are there. So if they have any kind of visa related things or any stuff, they will connect you in the chat. Okay, thank you so much.
Sure, no problem. Thank
Hi,
you.
excuse me.
Thank you,
Excuse me,
everyone.
hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This side, Nitin. Can I know what is
Hi.
the highest? Can I know what is the highest education qualification to get the job in SAP FICO in foreign? Means in Canada, USA, German. What could be the highest education qualification you feel?
For I'm not sure about the other country you mentioned, but for Canada, it's good to have a finance degree if you want to work in FICO, but not necessary. And I will highly recommend you do certification. That is a very easy way to prove yourself that you know it. So after completing your class, you can enroll for a SAP certification, and then you can sit for the certification exam, and then you have something in your hand to prove that you know SAP. That is a very good thing to have, but not mandatory. And if you have if you are finance background, if you have master degree, that will be add on. But if you don't have finance degree and you do it, this is not end of the world. You have many way to prove to Canadian government that you know SAP software. For example, if you have job experience, if you know anybody work in SAP and refer you, that also works. And the most important thing, before you apply, make sure that you have your IELTS score. Without IELTS score, nothing will work. First thing they will check that you have IELTS score. And there are many provinces. For example, you have Bombay, you have Guntur, like this. So there are many provinces in Canada. If you Google search it, don't go for the big city like Ontario, overpopulated city. Don't pick up the overpopulated city. If you pick up the less populated city and slow populated city, you have more higher chance to get a visa. Because the way it works is where there are many people, then they don't need additional people from India. They already have people in that city. For example, I will say they have some state called Nunavut. You can apply there. They look for people. They are very cold and people doesn't want to work there. So it's easy to get a visa, but after getting visa, you don't have to be there. The whole Canada is open for you to move and to work. But at the beginning, it will be easy for you to enter into Canada.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
No
Janet, thank you so much. So thank you so much for your support. Okay, guys, I have one more session. So we will connect Monday. Okay, see you soon.